Okay, welcome back to the regular council meeting. The date is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. The time is 7 p.m. And there is nothing to report out of the closed portion of the meeting. Item number 4, the adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, moved by Councillor Abbott, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. Any amendments? No, all in favor?
Yes.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. With that, we'll move right to public participation. 2-minute portion. Anyone in the gallery or online wishing to address the council?
Oh, we have a hand from Norma Rogers.
Okay, Norma Rogers, go ahead.
Hi. Concerning the proposed building bylaw changes, please consider a bear smart inclusion. Many forested communities require that new or substantially renovated homes have wildlife-proof structures to store garbage and green waste. New construction rules could stipulate that when Lions Bay residents are building, their new garage be insulated and finished to bear-proof standards, or that they install a bear-proof metal shed or metal bin on a concrete pad. Every small rule change can contribute to improved safety for bears and people in Lions Bay. The Bear Smart Committee would be happy to discuss this issue with staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Norma. Any other residents?
No other hands.
No. Okay, with that, we'll move to delegations. Charlie Bradbury, apologies.
That's all right. I'm just going to read off this if that's okay. I don't have anything else to present. I'm here because at your request, actually, I had a meeting with staff last week, and I guess you wanted some more information on what I was talking about. But so here I am. Okay. So hello everybody. I've got a question for you. If you held the power to prevent the deaths of innocent and vital creatures, and it wouldn't cost you a penny to do it, would you? Birds do not recognise that reflective and transparent glass is a solid object and often die when they fly into it. I'm here this evening to request an addition to the new building bylaw, a requirement for all Lions Bay renovations and new buildings to include bird safety measures on all windows and exterior glass. Why should we do this? Well, the short version is because we can and it's the right thing to do. The long version is that it's got over 40 million birds are killed from collision strikes in Canada every year. Although high rises pose a great risk along migratory routes in particular, most bird strikes occur at or below the tree line because the reflections replicate a fly-through opportunity or a branch on which to land. Exactly the kind of environment that is Lions Bay. Now, maybe some of you think birds, so what? Well, birds, along with all other flora and fauna, if I had 10 minutes.
Disregard.
Yes.
Sounded like
that was Norma's.
I think it was a bird. I think it was a bird.
Some of you might think birds, so what? Well, birds, along with all other flora and fauna, are part of a delicate natural framework, working in harmony, creating a healthy ecosystem. And we need nature more than nature needs us. Here are just a few things that birds do. Yes. Birds eat massive amounts of insects and rodents, reducing damage to crops and lessening the need for chemical pesticides. They spread plant seeds through their droppings, helping forests and vegetation regenerate. Nectar feeders pollinate food crops. Seabird guano fertilizes oceans, supporting phytoplankton, the very start of the ocean food chain. Scavengers like vultures and crows clean up carcasses and slows disease spread. Birdwatching and related activities generate many millions of dollars globally, supporting local communities. Birds are a rich source of inspiration for art, science, culture, and spirituality. Studying birds has advanced our understanding of evolution, behaviour, and migration, and observing birds and listening to their songs is proven to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Birds provide an accessible, daily link to the natural world, fostering appreciation of the environment. Birds are sensitive to environmental change, and as nature's sentinels for pollution and habitat issues, signal threats to human health. The death of a single bird can translate into degraded boreal forest, thousands of insects not eaten, innumerable seeds not dispersed, and a lack of food for animals up the chain. There are plenty of reasons to see birds not as mysterious flitting creatures living beyond our family's immediate orbit, but as a vital member of the custodial crew maintaining our one and only home, Earth. How can we implement change? Well, as it happens, we can reduce collision bird strikes really very easily. We just need to make glass visible to birds. Recent research has shown that breaking up reflective surfaces with the application of a film of dots in a 2-inch by 2-inch configuration displays the glass as multiple obstacles too close to fly through. It's easy. Applying a film is one approach, but there are options to fit every budget and aesthetic. These include post-installation added transfers of film, factory-applied coatings, brick, acid or laser etching, and UV applications barely perceptible to the human eye. And as an added bonus, some applications can reduce energy consumption, leading to cost savings. So what's next? In the November report called Draft Building Bylaw Bird-Friendly Considerations, this fact find of several local community policies relating to glass safe requirements for birds reveals that many local communities have no requirements. What does that mean for Lions Bay? Well, do we fall in line with the other communities, or do we hold ourselves to a better, higher standard? I don't think Lions Bayers would ever consider themselves followers. No, Lions Bayers are trailblazers and they lead the pack. We don't bring up the rear. Coincidentally, though, there is one community exception, and that's Duncan. Duncan's development permit has a standard, number 114, which states the building design must be bird and bat friendly, including special consideration to the treatment of glazing, landscaping, and lighting to reduce the number of bird strikes and create an urban environment in which birds and bats can thrive. We're already trained behind Duncan. In 2019, with expertise across a wide range of current and emerging technologies, the Canadian Standards Association developed CSA A460, which is the Canadian National Standard for Bird-Friendly Building Design. In it, among others, are the following recommendations concerning glass. Bird collision mitigation strategies shall be present to a height of 16 meters above grade to the height of the adjacent mature tree canopy. Treatment of or glazing within the elevation specified prior shall apply to 90% of the glazing material. All glazing material that creates an apparent fly-through conditions, that's when you can see through the house from one piece of glass to the other, so it looks like a bird can fly straight through. And all glazing material adjacent to natural heritage features. Balcony railings and deck guardrails shall have glazing treatment. I would like to see the adoption of all of these in CSA A460:19 recommendations into our building bylaw. In my research, I found this document referenced many times at an industrial level, and glass producers are already discussing and creating ways to deliver on these requirements because they realise they will become standard. Adopting these requirements now, while we have the building bylaw open and on the table, will future-proof Lions Bay. I've seen these standards referenced regularly, industrially, by our neighbour to the south, meaning Canada is leading the way in North America. Wouldn't it be great if the little village that could lead the way in Canada? Circling back to my original question, if you held the power to prevent the deaths of innocent and vital creatures, and it wouldn't cost the village of Lions Bay a penny to do so, would you?
Any questions by councillors?
Well, I
Well,
have
there's just
something to
additional-
I have something to add to what Charlie's had to say. So this is a two-part delegation here because we had
Sorry, Charlie, are you okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I forgot to say, if I had any time left, Penny wanted to.
Okay,
Okay.
so you've got 2 minutes, Penny.
thank you, Ken. So I'm just going to be brief here. I did send an email to council on the matter. The other request that the bird team had was that we consider bird-friendly and actually human-friendly lighting as part of this new building bylaw while it's open, as Charlie said. Light pollution is not only problematic for birds and other wildlife, but it's also very detrimental to human health and well-being. and this is probably why it was included in the village's good neighbor bylaw all those years back, that refers to nuisance lights, and while lighting bylaws and requirements are common in many municipalities, either as part of other bylaws or as standalone bylaws. I mean, the modern terms for nuisance lights would be light pollution, light trespass, and glare. And adding lighting requirements to the new building bylaw would require less staff and council time and cost than making amendments after the fact. And it's really quite easy to do. Although Lions Bay largely enjoys little light pollution, it's fair to say the rash of rebuilds and new builds by non-resident flippers and developers has created excessive light in some neighborhoods, resulting in light trespass and glare where there was previously none. And the thing about bird-friendly lighting is it would not add cost for builders or owners up front and typically results in lower energy bills in perpetuity for owners. And this is all based on simple principles of stars up, lights down, no light trespass, you're not going to disturb your neighbors. And it relies on fixtures anyone can buy, even at Home Depot. It would be less expensive and more fair if lighting was addressed in the design phase of a new build or substantial renovation rather than requiring retrofits after the fact. And the same lighting requirements could be added as an amendment to the Good Neighbor bylaw without additional cost. And it's fair to say that dark nights are one of the benefits of living in Lions Bay, and trying to fix the problem is always more difficult and costly than preventing it in the first place. So, and
Okay, thank you so much, Penny, and thank you, Charlie. Appreciate
That was
the.
long.
sorry.
Oh, I thought that was,
That's wonderful. Thank you.
very good. Thank you very much, and thank you, Penny. Okay, next item is item number 7, the approval of December 2nd, 2025 minutes. Do we have a motion for that? Moved by Councilor McLaughlin, seconded by Councilor Broughton. Any amendments, changes? Okay,
I've got changes, but I have a comment. Shout out to Deputy Corporate Officer. I think these minutes nailed it. I think they're concise, but they cover all the topics. I think you set yourself a standard for next year.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Well done. Okay, any changes?
Sorry, can I just say I need to defer that accolade to Ms. Kenna over here, who is instrumental.
I did say,
We bypassed you.
I did not say corporate officer. I said deputy corporate officer.
You weren't mentioned.
Okay.
Actually.
All in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. All right, business horizon minutes. None. Okay, we'll move to item number 9, unfinished business, building bylaw number 649, 2025. Motion that the building bylaw number 649 of 2025 be granted a third reading. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Broughton, seconded by. Do we have a seconder? Okay.
I'll still
second. Okay, Councilor Abbott.
So second to get it on the table.
All right, discussion.
You first,
Go, carry on.
Thank you. We just listened to the to our residents. We categorize them as bird friendly, bear friendly, substantially they're climate action friendly. And their input, while we've heard it verbally, has not been translated into the bylaw. My suggestion is that we bypass the third reading and that we get this right and have an inclusive meeting with the groups that we've just heard. I mean, to me, if we're going to do a new build or a substantial reno, having it some kind of bear-proof kind of thing makes absolute sense to me. Different glazing, different paints and stuff like that makes a lot of sense to me. And why wouldn't we put it in our bylaws? So I'll leave it at that, which is the ultimate piece is that it goes back to staff to make these friendly changes. Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Abbott. You had your hand
Julio
up.
has his hand up.
Oh, Ross. Okay, we'll go to Mr. Blackwell, and then we'll go to Councilor Abbott. Mr. Blackwell, you're on. We can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Thank you. Yes, I just want to draw council's attention to a staff report provided by Mr. Butler that's attached. And it it discusses the outcomes or considerations associated with his meeting with the bird-friendly folks. So if you haven't seen that, you might wish to avail yourselves of that attachment.
Mr. Blackwell, can you give us a summary of that? So that the public can hear as well?
Well, it's pretty complicated. I think Mr. Butler's indicated he has concerns around cost and various other things. And he has indicated that he is not supportive of those additions being added as a requirement. I can't remember or not whether he agreed with a backup option, which is include them as optional for people if they want to, do better. That is not a requirement; it's an option. I can't remember what he said with regard to whether he was in support of that or not.
Okay, Councillor Broughton, and then we'll go to Councillor Abbott.
Thank you. Was
Oh, okay, Councillor Abbott.
So your first, oh, that's something to say, but on to the report from Dave Butler, this report predates the meeting. Similar report after the meeting. We've seen this report in the last meeting, in the last council meeting.
That's when we asked the groups to come
And then we
forward.
asked them to meet. So we haven't had feedback from since they've met.
Okay, anything further? Councillor Broughton, comments?
No, I have a few more things to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I just want to make the point that we'd like to hear the outcomes from the meeting from staff, not report those in advance of it. I heard a lot of talk in your report, Ross, here about changing times, need to modernize. I think what we've heard tonight, we have a real good chance here to once again be out front ahead of these kind of initiatives, as Lions Bay frequently does. I think proudly so. I would like to suggest that we do not call this the third reading. We defeat third reading, come back with a more fulsome changes that acknowledge what we heard tonight and what we've heard previously about these initiatives. And if they're not incorporated into the bylaw, I'd like to see a reason why.
Okay, Councillor Broughton.
I would support us going ahead with third reading. I think we could make further changes as required, consistent with the municipal advisor's recommendations almost 3 years ago, or no, 2 years ago, pardon me, over 2 years ago, to move forward with the bylaws and so on. I think that we need to instead of keep bunting it back, to move forward. It's not that we're enshrining these bylaws in stone. We're trying to move things forward. And so I would support going with third reading. I think that while it's presented as a simple sort of a line item, I think there are some fairly significant. There's more information. We've got a very fulsome report from the building inspector, done on very short notice ahead of our last meeting, and quite an impressive report based on the research that was done. I'd like to hear an update on that if there was if there's new information based on the meeting. I noticed in CBC yesterday that Winnipeg had moved forward with some bird friendly bylaws in their city. And as a result of trying to implement it over the last year, they're now reviewing that. And so I'd be very interested to know, what the complications are. I do agree that Lions Bay does lead, but I think we need to lead based on accurate information. We are a speedboat rather than a super tanker. We can move really quickly on things, but we also have access to lots of great information. We've heard a lot of it this evening, and but there's lots of information out there, and so I think we should move ahead with third reading and continue to consider other changes, but get this bylaw moved along.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I would tend to agree. I think third reading would be in order. I also do think that staff meeting and discussing this with the public and the residents and the Bird Smart Committee and others is definitely useful and would be helpful. I know I think when I originally built, one of the alternatives that wasn't available at that time was cabling, which I think is a nice alternative to glass, but it's now available, so that's a
Really?
positive. But if there's any improvements that don't provide too significant of a burden to residents, then I'm also in favor of that. So further discussion may be warranted, but I'm in favor of a third reading. Councillor Abbott.
Yeah, I just want to advise council, we've done this before where we've clearly had people that are opposed to going ahead with the third reading, and I'm one of those. And then we end up defeating it, and then we end up with nothing, and then we don't have a bylaw on the table. So I'd like to put forward the proposal that we suspend the third reading to a meeting in January. I think some of these changes can be really simple. We were given Canadian standards that can just be a reference to a standard. We can also get feedback from the building inspector after his meeting with the Bird Friendly group, and after he's had time to comment on what was requested from Norma Rogers on behalf of BSMart. And so I'd like to put forward a motion that we suspend the third reading until the new year.
If I could, hello.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell.
So just to assist council here, the word would be table it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, just if I could too, just want to remind council of the presentation done by the Lidstone solicitor, who was key to the development of these standards. And you will remember that he said that sort of there's a bit of an urgency around this to ensure that the community is shielded with regard to issues related to geotechnical stability, because the existing bylaw under which we are issuing building permits leaves the village legally vulnerable. So that's just a bit more, just a reminder of the background.
Okay, Councillor McLaughlin.
Thank you. Just through the corporate secretary, do we have a first and second on the bylaw?
We do.
Thank you.
The chair on the main motion, we do not on the.
So we do not on Councillor Abbott, so I will, thank you very much, Mayor Bear. I'll second on Councillor Abbott's motion. We're pending Christmas season. I don't know how many building permits are being issued over the holidays, but I'm gonna guess none. I think with the adjustments from staff, as we've talked about respecting the different community groups, I think I'd like to see this come back. Can't believe January the 5th. Seems like tomorrow, but it will be. And I'd be happy to vote on the motion with the amendment or with suggested changes at that time.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, can I just ask, if we approve this third reading, do we still have opportunities to make adjustments?
I would recommend, you always have, okay, these things are not carved in stone. Council always has the prerogative to amend bylaws going forward. Frequently what a community does is pilot bylaws. So they will include certain provisions in a bylaw, pilot those for a period of time, test how they work, and then amend it or remove or whatever after that. But it's at third reading, it's ideal to ensure that you have this tight. Adoption should really be a formality.
Okay, yeah, Councillor Brown.
We're currently at December the 9th. Staff will be away for a significant portion of the time between now and our next meeting. And I just think it's important to move forward. And if we do want to make changes, that we can do that. But in terms of the litigation that you're talking about, potential, etc., I just think it's a good move to move forward, but because we can make the changes.
Okay, all in favor of tabling?
Sorry, can I
Yeah,
just one thing?
Councillor Abbott.
We're talking about making changes, but does council understand you can't just make one change? You got to go back again. You're going to have to do 3 readings and an adoption all over again. So, take a couple of weeks and get it right and not have to go through that long cycle. Just makes complete sense to me.
Okay, all in favor, tabling?
Okay,
Yes, opposed? Okay, motion defeated.
Sorry.
Back to the main motion. Mr. Blackwell?
Sorry, just a point of clarity. This specific type of bylaw does not require you to go back and redo all the readings. You're allowed to amend it as you go right up to 3rd reading. If this, however, was a zoning bylaw or an OCP amendment, Councillor Abbott's points are bang on. You would have to go back to public hearing, in fact, if the changes were substantive, but that's not what this type of bylaw is.
Okay,
Sorry, can we-
back to the main motion,
Sorry,
that
can
the
we
building
clarify?
bylaw number 649, 2025 be granted 3rd reading. Comments, Councillor Abbott?
Okay, I was trying to comment on what Mr. Blackwell just said. We still have to, we're talking about after adoption. If you make a change, you've got to go do 3 readings again. You can't make a change. What you're saying is we could try and make a change before adoption in January, but that's messy. So I still think we'll be much better off than trying to change it at adoption. We should actually table the 3rd reading.
Okay, all right, all in favor of the motion? Opposed?
I'm sorry, I don't think we're clear on what the motion is.
Okay, I'll read the motion again. The motion is that bylaw number 497, bylaw number 4649, 2025 be granted a 3rd reading. There will still need to be a final reading.
Sorry, you didn't finish the votes on mine.
We did, that was
we didn't.
defeated.
No, we did.
We
voted
did.
on
The motion was defeated to table it.
If I
Okay,
may, Ross has his hand.
Yeah, Mr. Blackwell?
Sorry, but I'm very worried that to a point made earlier, council's going to snooker themselves. If you defeat this now, you mean you're defeating the bylaw. So be careful. You can refer it to staff for additional information if you don't want to table it. But I would encourage you not to defeat this resolution on the table. Otherwise, you have no bylaw.
Okay, Councillor Broughton?
Could we refer it to staff?
Okay, motion to refer to staff, moved, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. Discussion, all in favor? Opposed, motion carried. Okay,
thank you, Mr. Blackwell.
thank you.
If I may, through the chair, very quickly, I don't know if you recall a few weeks ago when Mr. Micklejohn was speaking about a missing definition of roof slope that has been added. So just very
we saw it.
housekeeping, but
Definition of
roof slope.
Roof slope.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, item number 9.2, the motion is that fees bylaw number 497, 2016, amendment bylaw number 656, 2025 be adopted. Do I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Broughton, seconded by Councillor McLaughlin. Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. Councillor McLaughlin.
Oh, no, sure.
Question.
Speaking.
Okay, all in
Sorry,
favor?
no, I wanted my hand, I'd like to speak.
Okay, Councillor.
There was a request by me. I thought there was some agreement around the table that we should reconsider the idea that the residents who already pay taxes don't get a break and don't get that lower price that they used to get in the past. Could staff explain the logic why did they consider that? Why it didn't happen? It's not mentioned, and I see there's no changes.
Mr. Blackwell, I get that question is directed towards you.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Kenna can speak to the mechanics of what went on there. And I don't know if this is where Councillor Abbott was indirectly going or not, but part of the discussion last time was that council consider establishing a committee to discuss, review fees for use of the facility. Because as you will recall, it's difficult for staff to try to find the sweet spot. Staff canvasses other communities, sees what they do, et cetera, but there has to be some metric whereby council is making a conscious decision to pursue cost recovery or not cost recovery. These fees are really not a lot of fees to begin with. And so it could easily be an argument made that this is a community amenity. Let's not fool around with these small amounts and let's just make it available. But you can also say, no, users should pay the cost to run it. But perhaps I can defer to Ms. Kenna for additional comment.
If I may, pretty much what Mr. Blackwell just said. My takeaway from the last meeting was that there was an appetite to create a committee and get more feedback, but I didn't think we would be making any changes between now and when that would potentially happen.
So just to clarify, if we were to have that committee, would you still be looking for the bylaw to be approved? And then you would incorporate any changes?
That, if I may, that's how I would see it. It's not
Could be
so
adjusted.
ordinance that we can't bring it back. Again, you just approved this bylaw a month ago, and then we encountered these sort of hiccups, so to speak. Oh my gosh, people are walking in the door. We actually didn't really see how this was gonna play out. We want to fix that and make it, better for them. So I don't see why we wouldn't just do that again.
Okay, Councilor McLaughlin.
Thank you very much, Mayor Barry. I'd be in favor of this legislation and go to finalization of it. I'd also ask that you request Councilor Broughton to form a select committee of his discretion to come forward in the next council meeting and he can do the resolution himself, but I think I'm giving him lots of room here to canvass a larger, small group as he sees fit to examine the costs and be substantially resident concentric, for lack of a better term.
Okay. Any comments further? No, I'll call a question. All in favor?
I'm sorry, we're
We're calling the question on the motion,
on the bylaw.
on the bylaw.
So it's
Let's go with the
approval or not.
bylaw, yeah.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, we'll move to action log on page 108. Any items councilors would like to pull?
If I could, it was just for clarity, was that a motion that Councillor McLaughlin was proposing?
I think Councilor Broughton's taking notes and he's got the message here for next meeting.
To the next meeting, yeah. Just in the spirit of a discussion here, we're talking about a select committee, which would mean that the list of people would be brought to council and approved by council and.
It could be a de facto committee, it's your
Yeah.
call.
Okay, I'm just
And
How about a
thinking,
task force?
in my
I'm
view.
wondering if a mayor's task force.
How about a task force?
Format might be. the
That's a
way.
little less formal.
Or
Or,
less formal, the better.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think you should go
All right.
out and village update and get people to volunteer to come forward. I think a committee would do better.
I think this is for Councilor Broughton to figure out.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'll bring some suggestions.
item 9.3.
Sorry, guys.
page 108.
Oh, Mr. Blackwell's always interrupting.
Mr. Blackwell, we're moving forward. It's the action log item.
I know, but you gotta do things properly, you guys. You gotta do things properly. If you're gonna create a committee, you gotta do that properly.
We've agreed on a task force is what the straw vote was.
I think we agreed that Councillor Broughton was gonna come back with a suggestion.
With the suggestion.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
All right.
Back to the action log, Mayor Barry,
Okay.
if I may.
Yeah, any items, councilors would like to pull?
This was before my time. This is item 311, and it's the proceed with wayfinding signage project subject to community input. It's deferred, it's 2 years old. I'm not sure what the relevance is now and where it fits on the CAO wish list, but I'm gonna guess low, and if that's the case, it should be gone. I'm not invested in this one, so I'm very antiseptic, so that's the first one. I've got a couple. The next one I think is that 363, that's complete, that should be struck. And I'm good with the rest.
Okay, any other items councilors would like to discuss or
Another-
strike?
Another question, well, the same question again on item 339. We said followed up on October 22nd. What is the follow-up here? And has Lions Bay Search and Rescue ever been contacted as was suggested.
Crystal or Ross?
If I may, to Councillor Abbott, I would have to go back and look at my emails. But I believe that where it was left with Mr. Shepsky, he was reviewing a long list of sort of queries / concerns that the Director of Operations had provided him, and I have not heard
Mr. Whom?
Shrek, I think it's
Okay.
Shepsky.
Okay, I know who it is then.
Shepsky.
All right, any other items? No, okay, we'll take that for information then, an advisement on the removals.
Can we get an answer next time whether this plan of search and rescue has been contacted? That was the ask.
And would those be a strike on my two?
Yes,
Thank you.
okay. All right, item number 10, reports, the staff report on development variance permit application 2004. The recommendation is the council approve the issuance of development variance permit number DVP 25-04 to vary the section 7.8.1 of zoning development bylaw number 5/20/2017 to permit the maximum permitted height for a flat roof to be varied from 7.5 meters to 8.7 meters for the property located at 242 Panorama Place, as generally in accordance with the plans attached to this report. We have motion for that. So moved by Councilor McLaughlin, second by Councilor Proughton. Discussion.
I have a
Yeah,
question.
Councilor Abbott.
I'm kind of familiar with a lot. Well, I've actually been on the property. So I know it is pretty secluded and away from neighbours, but there's no mention in this report of neighbours being consulted in any of their comments. Were they consulted, and there's no feedback here from their neighbourhood consultation?
Mr. Blackwell, any comments?
Thank you, through you. Yeah, all the notification procedures, including to adjacent residents as set out in the bylaw, were completed. And to my knowledge, we received no response. To your point, the property is set apart from adjacent properties north and substantially lower than properties south, so it is quite secluded, as you note.
Okay, any other comments before we call the question? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, item 10.1.2, solid waste collection. The motion is the council endorse the bear cart option approach for inclusion in the draft solid waste and recycling collection bylaw number 455, 2013 amendment bylaw number 652, 2025. Do we have a motion for that?
We'll put it forward.
Moved by Councilor Abbott, second. Second by Councilor McLaughlin, discussion. Councilor Broughton.
It seems there's a number of factors built in here, I think, and I'm not clear what it is that we're moving forward. There seems to be limits to green waste built in. And maybe I'm not understanding the suggestions, but I would be very concerned if we're looking at significantly limiting green waste removal based on the fact that right now it seems ludicrous that we're concerned about wildfires, but we have our fire rescue department has done a huge amount of work with fire safe, and one of the components of that is clearing materials away from your home and keeping your property clear of inflammable materials. So I just think I'm not clear exactly what it is that we're accepting and on this. So on that basis, I'm not prepared to support it as yet because I don't understand it.
Okay, I see that Carl Burr has authored this report. Perhaps we could get Carl to give us some explanation on it. Carl, if you please come to the table.
Thank you. Good evening. So the proposition is that council endorse the Bearcon optional approach, which you will see on page 125 of the agenda. And Councillor Broughton is correct in that we will need to restrict curbside pickup of green waste going forward. Waste Control Services, the current contractor, has indicated this is a non-negotiable requirement of theirs. They have experienced too many instances, particularly in spring and fall, when they find themselves making more than one trip, which is immensely costly for them, both in terms of miles and in terms of overtime. So in consideration of many other concessions that they would be making to us, for example, I know it sounds almost trite, unclipping backcard lids, which is not something they would typically want to do. We would restrict green waste pickup anyway, as a quid pro quo for residents. We would take unlimited green waste, yard waste, at the yard. It would be dumped on the ground level, and then we would regularly pick it up with the mini excavator or the backhoe and put it in the 40-yard bin for removal. As far as solid waste pickup for landfill waste and compostable waste, the proposition is, as the option's called, optional. You would buy 220-liter bear carts. You would have the ability to put those out at any time after 5 o'clock, the current time in the bylaw. I don't see a need to change that earlier or later. Waste Control would pick it up with the time slots, which they particularly don't like. It's very problematic for their staffing requirements, but they would continue, they would make it work for us. This would alleviate the issue of people not being able to make time slots, and also not being able to avail of going down to the yard, because typically the reason that we hear is they don't have a suitable vehicle. It would retain time slots for those who could use them. I think when you analyze the stats based on the 3 zones, you will see that there are too many residents cannot make the late time slot. It's unfair to put them in that position. It's also a non-equitable service that we're providing, that they cannot avail of solid waste collection. This solves that problem. It alleviates the municipality having to buy waste cans, $200 each, more or less. There's a slightly lower price for 120 litre. Why 120 litre? Because I'm very concerned that the larger one, the 240 litre, and you see it modeled there by North Cowichan, which is a universal bear cart community, meaning everybody is required to use official bear carts. 240 is quite a large one, and it's pretty heavy, even empty, especially in Lions Bay, with steep driveways either up or down, let alone full. So the 120 litres somewhat alleviates that. I know from personal experience, 120 litre tote is pretty heavy when it's full, especially if it's icy. But that is what we will need to do if we want to alleviate many of the issues facing us, particularly around equitable service and continue to remain best mark. So a roundabout way perhaps to introduce all the issues here, but to answer Councillor Broughton's question, yes, we would restrict green waste. If we went the 240 litre, which would be dumpable using this so-called tuck-away lifting device, which they will have to retrofit 3 trucks for, which they will do. The reason it has to be tuck-away is that Westvan doesn't use tipper service, and so it needs to be out of the way for them, because typically what a tipper does is block the back rail of the hopper. It's either you have one or you don't. But they have found a tuck-away model that they will install. It's not expensive, it's $12,000 per truck. We would amortize that over 3 years by signing a new contract. I recognize that people getting large craft yard bags down to the yard may be an issue. We may have to think through what that means. But that's coming regardless. Now would be a good time to introduce it. I started saying that if, for example, we did require universal bear-cart service with the 240 litre units, you would have as much yard waste and compostable, anything that's compostable would go into the 240 litre can and nothing else. I don't think that's going to fly in Lions Bay so well. A, because it's quite restrictive. You put your kitchen scraps in there, obviously, and you put whatever else you could get in there. It would have to be clipped on curbside until they got there, and then they would use the tipper. So we're not proposing that for the reason that it's quite restrictive, and I am worried that 240 litre can is going to be too heavy.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, anything to add? I see your hand is up.
Thank you. Just want to add that I just want to give a nod to Mr. Burr, who has worked and Taj, the bylaw enforcement officer, have worked quite strenuously to find an optimal situation here. Want to reinforce the fact that there's no perfect solution. I want to also reinforce the fact that council always has the ability to tweak and adjust. But as you know, there is some obligation to ensure that the municipality is providing equitable service for the utility fee that is paid. And this is staff's best effort to try to find the middle ground. So all that we are looking for tonight is endorsement of this concept. And if council is comfortable with it, we will insert it into the refuse bylaw and bring that amended refuse bylaw forward for the next reading.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Broughton, you have your hand up, and then Councillor Abbott.
I really appreciate the work that's gone into this, and I know that it's challenging.
There are a lot of moving parts.
There's a lot of moving parts, and I really appreciate, and I think relationship with WCCS is a really, really important thing. I have significant concerns about the fire safe aspect of the green waste issues, and I recognize that there's been an attempt to try to address that, but I just I would like to spend a bit more time trying to figure that one out. I'm also was informed by a resident that there was a ombudsperson's concern about the time slots. And so I'm a little bit concerned about us predicating a decision here on time slots, which I'm not quite clear. I don't completely understand where we are with.
If you could reserve your comments. If I could reserve your comments about that topic, please.
Right, okay.
I can say that these time slots are now optional.
Okay.
And so we believe de facto equitable.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Abbott.
Just giving clarity on a couple of points. So the yard trimmings of green waste is irrelevant. We've got to deal with that one way or the other. Even if we did nothing, we still got to deal with that.
Correct.
So that has to be dealt with. So we shouldn't, I think we're confusing to understand why you're trying to get everything into the bylaws so that they reopen and changing. But let's not defeat, or let's not make the decision on the bear carts, because we're thinking about that yard trimmings that we need to deal with anyway. The other question I had is the 80 litre bin that we saw in the picture here. So most people have about 50 or 60 litres bin in their kitchen scraps at the moment. They're food based. Is that bin an option as well, and is it cheaper?
It is certainly an option, unnecessary, because a 50-litre bin, which is modelled by a far more handsome, public works
I know
manager.
that, they're muscular as well, I know.
Yeah.
You could probably live
No, sorry, Carl, you
Much
missed my question.
the heavier.
If you wanted to opt out, could you get an 80-litre bin, which is lighter and easier to carry,
That's not a bad, that's.
and could easily be loaded?
No, that's not a bad, bear resistant option.
Oh, it's not. Oh, I thought you found that 80 litres was better, isn't it?
I would love to.
Okay, all
No.
right, take back my question. No,
Rollins,
it's just a model there together.
Rollins will make, yeah, I even thought about cutting it out, to be honest,
Okay.
trimming it. Rollins will make a 120 or a 240.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell, I know Councillor Broughton brought up a topic which he didn't want to elaborate on, but that still is outstanding. Do we know when we might have some resolution so that we could have further information to move on this item?
Yes, this largely is a function of what council chooses to do with the garbage bylaw. Council is aware of the key sticking points that need to be addressed. They are reflected in the proposed bylaw that council has seen. This piece now that council is talking about is sort of one of the legs on that stool. So depending on what happens here, most of the issues will be resolved.
Okay. All right, any other comments before we call the question? Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Opposed? Okay, motion defeated. Okay, next item,
No, what, sorry,
next item
Sorry,
is,
if I could,
yeah,
what are we doing now? Is my Bible?
There's no
so
bylaw.
that puts us in a very, very awkward spot. And I don't know, if you don't do this, I don't know the way out of it. Mr. Burr has done all he can to bring forward an optimal solution. So if council doesn't want this one, then I would ask council to specify as an alternate resolution what it does want.
well, I'd like to get the final report, I guess, before we make that decision. And you've told us that we can't discuss that, but so I'm not sure where we go.
So the report,
Councillor McLaughlin.
there won't be a report until this is resolved by council. That's step one. Council has to resolve this bylaw. Step two, then there will be a final report.
Okay, well, the bylaw has just been struck down, so what other comments do you have?
Well, I think we need to discuss that, and that's a closed discussion, and we need to have that.
All right, Councillor Broughton is asking to move into closed to have further discussion. Do you suggest we do that now or at the end of this meeting, Mr. Blackwell?
I would recommend that you do it at the end of the meeting so people online can hear the rest of what's on the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Mayor,
Councillor McLaughlin?
I think we signed out of the closed meeting.
Get back in.
No, we
Yeah, we
can
can go back
go
in.
back in at any time.
So,
Yeah.
the other thing is that, not sure what the closed meeting is going to yield, but using your executive power, there's only 4 of us here, you could recall this motion in January with whatever extra information we have and go from there.
I would support that because.
Okay, Mr. Blackwell?
With respect, council, you have to stop waiting for January. These things are time sensitive. I can't impress upon you the importance of moving these things forward. You can't keep delaying. This matter,
Mr. Blackwell, the motion's been defeated.
The motion's been defeated. Okay, so we'll discuss this at the end of the open meeting. We'll move into closed, have further discussion. All right. So next item is, let me get.
Community amenity
10.1.3, community amenity contributions, the recommendation, do we have motion?
So
That council directs staff to bring forward for council consideration amendment, section 7.2 and zoning development bylaw number 5/20/2017 to establish a uniform minimum parcel size of 700 square meters in RS-1 zone. Moved by Councillor McLaughlin, second. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Broughton, second. Comments, please raise your hand. No, all in
No.
favor?
I'll comment.
Okay, Councillor Abbott?
I believe there's been talk about us moving forward in the new year with some sort of OCP update. I think this is a very key part of that OCP update, wherever it turns out to be. I think going ahead and making this change now is getting the cart in front of the horse. I think I'd like to hear from residents. So I think I'd propose we went with option 3, and started with getting a have your say out there, and moving towards getting resident input into what our OCP needs to look like.
Okay, any other comments? No, I'll call the question. All in favor?
Rob, sorry, if I may, Rob.
Ross, hands up.
Mr. Blackwell?
Just to remind council that with the zoning bylaw, there is the opportunity for public input through public hearing process. So that does exist. The question of lot size is not really an OCP matter. This really is a technical zoning matter where you have a bit of an administrative issue, as I've set out in that report. And so, as I say, the public hearing requirement will provide the community with an opportunity to weigh in on the topic.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Councillor Abbott opposed. Please note that. Okay, next item is 10.1.4, snow and ice policy reassurance report. Everyone has a report on that. Mr. Burr, would you like to comment on it? Please come to the table.
Thank you. Just briefly, this report was promulgated slightly before last Friday, in which we put a piece in that was largely drawn from this, a little more colloquial language. So as I understood the brief, we really needed to just popularize the policy so that people understood it a little better. I think that was somewhat accomplished by the Friday Village update piece. This says more or less the same thing. It's really reiterating that the policy is doing absolutely nothing different to what we do now. It is only formulated as a basis for policy defense. End of story.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Councillor Abbott?
Well, I would agree with you largely, or maybe wholly, if the in brackets behind priority number 3 that says as resources permit was removed. That is a substantial change. That is the language that's used on big municipalities where they do not plough their side streets. That's the language they use, and that is a change. We have never had that in Lions Bay. We've ploughed all streets. Where the policy now reads is that we will only plough those streets as resources permits, and it goes in the front of the policy. It says the fundamental purposes of this policy is to access emergency services and utilities. That's never been the policy in the past. The fundamental has been to clear all our streets. I understand you need a priority. I understand you do heavy traffic and accesses to our utilities, emergency services first. But I think if you remove that, that would make it fair and equitable to everyone, and it isn't as it currently is. And I can just make a statement. I've lived at 125 Sunset Drive for 25 years. Last year was the first time I ever noticed that the north end of Sunset Drive was cleared to get to the water tank, and the south end was not cleared until much later in the day. That's the first time it's happened. That is a change. And I'm not speaking here to motivate for Sunset Drive to somehow get some special permission because I sit on it, but it is a change in the way things have been done in the past. So I think if we can just remove that as resources permit, and allow some discretion, then I think you have something that's a policy based on how we've been operating for the last 25 years. But with that statement in there, it's not.
Okay, any other comments, questions?
I mean, If I may,
We'll go to Mr. Blackwell, then Councillor Broughton, and then back to Mr. Burr.
thank you. The reason why that's in there is because we can't always guarantee a level of service. If one of the vehicles breaks down, if staff are away, there's a whole list of reasons why we may not be optimized with regard to the ability to clear the streets. If we don't have that clause in there, it means we are obliged to maintain that standard regardless of what staff we have available or the condition of the vehicles or the supply of salt or anything else that's out of our control. And that makes us liable to be sued. So the purpose of this is a policy defense, is to say we're going to do our best job. There are things out of our control, which is that piece that I've just mentioned. So in fact, that is actually a core piece. It doesn't mean we're going to change anything. It just means that if something unforeseen happens, we're not going to be liable because we didn't have a staff member show up or whatever.
Okay, we're going to Councillor Broughton, then we'll go to Mr. Burr, and then we'll come to Councillor Abbott.
Yeah, I think just reiterating what the CAO has said is that it's a policy defense statement or document, and so you have to have some wiggle room there, and you can't do something if you don't have the resources. So to me, it just makes sense.
Okay,
and
Mr. Burr.
I'm hearing a very clear commitment to.
It's purely the policy defense nature of having a policy in the first place. Yeah, there's no intention not to do it.
Okay.
It's to cover us if we cannot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Abbott, you comfortable with that?
No, let me just state it again. I'm not comfortable with that. Here's what I'm saying is, if you said at the stop of the policy, you said, we will clear our roads in this priority as resources permit, that's fine. But you've singled out one set of residents and said, as resources permit, only applies to them. It does not apply to all the other residents. That is an equitable service. The as resources permits in our order of priority, I'm fine with it. But not just the priority 3 people are going to be as resources. What if you lose all your trucks? You can't do the other ones, but you've committed you're doing the other ones regardless of resources. That statement should be to the entire village, not to one subset of the residents.
Okay. All right, the report's for information only, so we'll move on.
That's helpful.
Item 13 is correspondence. Any items from correspondence that councillors wish to pull out, discuss?
Yeah, I've got a discussion to on the general, to be honest. Hang on a second. Okay, so I just want to point out that the first 2 are feedback from UBCM resolutions. I think these should have been on the agenda, not just in correspondence, but everyone knows the resolution in 84 was rejected by the UBCM, and that's the one about having a more coordinated high level of government to review or to manage emergency management in general. And then there was another piece of correspondence today that talks about that topic, that it seems like the province might be trying to go a different way. So maybe that's not completely dead to us. The second one is UBCM resolution number 72, and that was the one about the potable water treatment plants. That one got approved. So the resolution has gone forward to the province. I'd like to take that to the next IC meeting, because we all know it doesn't end once UBCM has moved the resolution. I'd like to take it to the IC meeting, come up with a letter that we can go back to the province and offer our assistance and just keep this ball moving along. And then we've got several more municipalities sending us correspondence on pushing back on Bill M216. And that seems to be a common theme on municipalities, but who knows what the province is going to do. And then on page 160, town of View Royal have gone one step further. They are now calling for a judicial review. Their council approved a motion for them to go forward with a judicial review on the provinces on this bill. And they're asking other communities or other municipalities if they would like to join them.
I would not see us joining.
Mr. Blackwell, did you have any comments? Is
Uh,
that something you would look to take on?
well, that would be purely a political decision. The reality is this legislation sits solely within the purview of the province. They are entirely entitled to prescribe whatever conditions they so choose. Again, remembering that municipalities are creatures of the province. They exist at the whim and will of the province. So they retain the statutory authority to do this very thing. So I think it would be a bit of a waste of time, in my humble opinion. But nonetheless, it may be a political statement that council chooses to make. Nonetheless.
Okay. Any other councillors wish to comment? No, okay. Any other items?
Could I just, we received a letter today from Patrick Wheeler's office, and it's regarding public engagement period for strengthening the federal leadership in emergency management.
That's what I
So-
was referring to.
Oh,
I was referring to that. Yes,
the
so they
connection together.
came afterwards.
Perfect. Yeah,
It seems like there might still be some other.
exactly, yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so definitely there seems to be a role for all three governments to be involved, and so. good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no other items wish to be told. We'll move to new business, no new business, public questions, comments, anyone online wish to comment?
No,
No, okay.
Could I- Ask the CEO just a question regarding the bylaws and the development.
Is this an agenda item?
We can do that offline.
Okay,
Okay, good. With that, motion to move back into closed. Okay. Motion to move back in.